Manever I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there, osia dem yopo.
You are welcome to PENDREAM TV, the only channel that brings you the best and latest updates in politics. If you are new here, please don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, like and also share for other new members to watch as well. Thank you. You can also leave a comment after watching or send us a voice note on our WhatsApp number, which is 0277 128 777. Thank you. Professor Gyampo has finally reacted to the court case of ACP Agordzo, saying that he has seen a high level of political handedness in the case, and also congratulate Agordzo for being bold and strong. And he said it's his boldness that has landed him to all this case. Without much ado, I would like you to join me listening to what he said into detail. Thank you.
Well, you at least were speaking to the current state of affairs with this particular case while awaiting the appeal by these 6 persons who have been convicted to death by hanging. We spoke to a lawyer Adawudu, Kojoga Adawudu, who is also lawyer for 3 of the 6 accused persons who have been convicted to death by hanging. He indicates that these 6 have been they are being kept at still in detention.
Yes, they are.
They are still being kept in detention, awaiting that appeal process to start. So obviously, it is not as though this sentencing of death by hanging is one that is even going to take effect, because the last time this punishment was administered was sometime in 1993, and we do know last year, after Parliament passed that death penalty, abolition of the death penalty, the president assented to that particular bill.
Yeah. So it's
it
law.
is law
Act 1101. That's a Criminal Offences Amendment Act 1101. So murder, piracy, smuggling of this gold, diamond, etc. The sentence is no longer death. Yes.
It is life imprisonment.
Yes. Yes. So now we are left with the Armed Forces Amendment Act, and then now the Constitution, the one that was used to convict these accused persons, they must also go. But, you know, Akufo-Addo has been tardy on it. You remember this thing, 2019, I went with Amnesty, went and made this presentation to him. He nodded in approval that yes, he would do it. He never did. Our only lack was that Susu got elected as a member of parliament. Then he heard about it. He came to Amnesty. I mean, we had a conference in Cape Coast. He came and then he said, Martin, you sure? He looked at it and he said, okay, I can do a private member's bill. That's how Susu saved us. Akufo-Addo is always interested in grandstanding. No work. Because when there are tapes. We went to the presidency in 2019. I did that presentation.
You went to the presidency?
Yeah, with Amnesty International. So I told him, Mr. President, listen, these ones, what we can do. I sitting here, I know that for Article 3, Clause 3, to amend it, you need a referendum. You know, I always talk about people hungry people. I meet the boys, there's hunger, people can't pay rent, etc. So I'm the last person to say we should take money to go and do a referendum on death penalty. No. So I said, look, Mr. President, practical common sense. Let's look at the Act 29. All the offenses that have carry the death penalty. Let's amend Act 29. Then at least we all know that we would have done majority of the job. Then we'll be left with the Constitution, Article 3, Clause 3. And he agreed. Ambrose Derry, Minister for Interior, was there. He said, yes. Gloria Kufu, Attorney General at the time. Yes. Then 2020, Amnesty International made a few follow-ups today, tomorrow, Kukwasa.
So now that has been passed into law. So it's now
law.
It's law.
It's law. It has a number.
Despite that debate about whether or not
it doesn't include.
Yes, because treason is in the Constitution.
Yes. Let me bring you at this point.
Okay.
Yes, on
you know, this discussion on a very good judicial process and people conspiring to do something, and we discussing it has tended to be like an Anado bashing. You know, when Martin was going at it, he was bashing Nanado. My brother was bashing Nanado. It's got nothing to do with Nanado.
It's all about
nothing. In America, where they come from, is there. People are being killed by being injected, and people are being executed when they are found guilty by court. Competent jurisdiction finds them guilty. People are being executed in America. We should have a death penalty in our statutes. I believe that.
They feel we can't execute.
Well, I don't care what they feel, but we should have it. That's my personal opinion as Kojo Poku. But let me please go on and congratulate my brother Martin for the good work he did. But he should also appreciate that we should also congratulate the AG, Godfred Dami, for doing a beautiful job for Ghana. Why do I say that? Look, it cannot be that it's a storm in a teacup. How is that? 10 people goes to court, 1 die, 6 convicted, 3 acquitted. It means you did a good job. It means that there was something substantial for the court to look at. The only way that Ghanaians have decided, and I'm glad my brother Honorable clarified clarified the situation, that Ghanaians believe that no matter how bad a civilian democratic government is, we'd rather be in that than a civilian rule.
But that's exactly what I said.
Yes, and I'm happy you. That's what I'm saying. That I'm happy you clarified. When you mentioned it, it came across exactly. So I'm glad you clarified it, and you.
That's exactly what I said.
Okay, so we are yes. No, they came across as but I'm happy you clarified it, and we are both on the same page, because we lived through, as a kid, I lived through 79, I lived through 81. So nobody wants to go through this thing again. Look, one of the things that Ghanaians should appreciate was that when somebody say that today, if you want to plan a coup, it's not WhatsApp you do. Please, do you know the things that are on WhatsApp? When somebody calls you normal calls, Master, let me call you on WhatsApp, I have something to tell you. People think that WhatsApp is the most secure form of communication, so they will now rather go on WhatsApp to say certain things and discuss certain things because they think that is the most secure place to discuss. Well, it doesn't matter, but you see, in 79, the only way they could meet was to gather, because there was no communication at that time. There was no mobile phone. In 81, the only place they could gather was to meet, because there was no mobile phone. Today, there is a story of a man who went to war and he lost because he didn't have a lot of chariots and spears, and he lost the war. So he went back home and then built so many spears and conspiracy. Your man is lucky you don't have RICO law in Ghana. In America, he would have been found guilty because they have RICO law. And the RICO law, you don't, as long as you are guilty by association, the RICO law will convict you. In Ghana, the proof is different. So it's okay. Your man was acquitted. Good luck to him. But you see, if you look at the association he kept and the people that he was associated with, giving them information, what they were planning, and a court of competent jurisdiction has proved that they were planning something bad. How they were, if they arrest the president, if they catch the president, would they kill him? And they were, and I've read the judgment. There was proof in court to say that would they kill him, would they not kill him? All those things were in their conversation. So nobody can sit here and say that Mr. Godfred Odami went to court and created a storm in a teacup. No, it's not true. Nana Ado's government has been one of the most open, okay? Look, he's a committed lawyer. He's been in the mills. He believes in these things. You might disagree on his approach on certain things, but at least for one thing for sure, there is a court of competent jurisdiction. 9 people went, 3 were acquitted. It's not a kangaroo court where you think that the president will have influence and all 9 would have been convicted. 3 came out. So everybody listening to us today will appreciate the fact that this is not a government that interferes in the judicial process. Because if that was the case, your client will be in jail today, because he was guilty by association. And let me land on that. Let me land on that. Okay, let me withdraw. Okay.
So there were a lot more people on the WhatsApp platform. Why we did not charge?
Okay, so let me withdraw that. Let me withdraw that. The point I wanted to make was that by his association with these people, that was what landed him in the court, and it's by his actions that was what landed him in court. So let's not say that somebody made things up. In your submission, you said that, my Godfred Dami tried to do a Machiavelli.
Yeah,
what's the
prince?
No, there's no Machiavelli. Because, my brother, he did a donation.
Instill fear.
He did donation.
No, the prince, Machiavelli, read it.
Okay. Can I finish? Okay. He did a donation of 2,000. He gave direction on how certain things should be done. Okay? And these are not an act that is a Machiavelli. He did it himself. There are 32 million people in this country. He happened to be on that platform. He had made certain pronouncements. Because of those pronouncements, the people now found that he's somebody that they could bring him on board this thing. And indeed, he was on there and he contributed money, be it for an outreach or not. That is what we are being told today. But please, let's not, as a nation, let the people watching us today think that there was much ado about nothing. It was not much ado about nothing. 6 were convicted. And I have read the judgment. The discussions they were having, the plans they were having, whether they were even using teacups, they were using utensils, or they were using plastic forks. They intended to basically commit high treason, overthrow a democratic elected government. How they do it is a different story altogether. The minute the intent is there, that's why there are 2 charges, conspiracy and committing. Some conspired, some committed. Though some charges will be different from others, that's why we have the 2 charges of the 2 counts. So please, I don't want this discussion. And my brother, Honorable Fusini, talk about fear. I could believe in fear because I think that governance without fear is no governance.
Well, that's your view.
No, that's my view, yes. That's what I say, I could yes. No, but what is fear? When you go into the Bible, how many times did the Lord our God use fear in the Bible? When you go to the Old Testament, when people challenge the authority in Leviticus, people challenge the authority of the tabernacle, people who were the high priest, the Lord will grandstand, and there were parts in the Bible where, to prove that he was Lord, to put fear in the people, he made the earth swallow people who challenge his authority. It's in the Bible.
Well, that
no, but I'm just
fits into leadership by
I am saying that we all my brother. Tyranny government is different from when somebody believes that there should be fear.
So why do you differentiate between?
Well, let me tell you why I believe. No, my brother, I'm talking about me. I could believe because without fear, we have nothing. Today, the disciplines in this country is going where it's going today because nobody has fear. The reason somebody can go to, please, when I speak, let me land. The reason a young guy can do a 360 achichi at the traffic light at the airport, right, in the broad daylight, is because there's no fear.
But let me tell you this. There's a difference between fear and the efficiency of the law. We are in a regime of the rule of law.
Yes.
You can rule with fear. That's why I say that if you are ruling with fear, you are a tyrannic leader. You can't differentiate between.
I am not saying that somebody should rule with fear. I said that there should be fear. I'm not saying rule with fear. It's you are taking different. The rule of law is everybody within the law. But you see,
the law
we should fear that. No. But we should have fear that when you now go against the law will take its course.
Absolutely, but that's different from
when that fear is not there.
That's different. You see, the law taking its course when you go wrong is different from ruling with fear. And
but you keep saying ruling with fear. I am not saying that Nanadu should rule with fear. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there should be fear.
Fear as a result.
Fear as in when people do things, they should know that the law will take its course. When that fear is not there. And you see, Honorable Fuseni said that Nanado is trying to instill fear because he will send people out to you when you oppose his government. Then all the members of parliament would have been convicted because they are always opposing his government. But they are a good opposition party. And we want them to continue to be a good opposition party. Okay? But the good thing is that everybody can express. This is not a country where people are not allowed to express themselves. This is not a country where people cannot sit on social media and insult the president. We see it every day. This is a country where now fake news, people can use Photoshop and alter the letter from the presidency. Who has been arrested on that? So I'm saying that let's not paint a picture as if Ghana, there is no intolerance, where the president is out there hunting people in corners to bring them into certain accusation. That is not true. You go and keep a certain company, you bear the fruit of the company you keep. And that is Martin's client. He had a certain company, and that company took him to court.
In Ghana, there is no guilty by association.
Well, please. I'm not saying that, but he's not guilty. He was found not guilty by a competent court. I'm saying that the reason he landed in court is because of the association and the friends he kept.
There were a lot more people on that.
But he's your friend, your client is the only one who was unfortunate to be there. So please, let's applaud this government for allowing freedom of speech. In fact, the libel law, which was on our status for so many years, was passed by who? Okay? If any government is the MPP, the party is the one that has always been in power to pass some of these laws that allow freedom of speech. When you repeal the libel law, okay? When we have done a lot to enhance journalism in Ghana.
Oh.
But everybody will sit back and say, oh, they're being tisa. But that's the truth. The MPP in power has done all these things. So please, and I think we should stop when we are discussing when people have gone into secrecy to plot, find out whether when we catch the president we will kill him. When people discuss those things and it goes to a court of competent jurisdiction and some are found guilty, we shouldn't make it an another bashing. Thank you.
Well, I'll tell you what, that if you look at the Press Freedom Index, it is at variance with your claim about the press freedom and what this government has done for journalists. Consistently over the period, the Press Freedom Index will have declined in terms of ranking.
But that's a perception. It's a perceived.
It's not perception. There's a difference. You are talking about Corruption Perception Index.
No, but the thing you're talking about is perceived.
No.
Okay, so if it's not perceived, tell me one person that was arrested and jailed because he's a journalist.
There are two different indexes.
Okay.
There's a Corruption Perception Index, and there's the World Press Freedom Ranking. That's not done on perception.
Okay.
It's done taking into consideration cases that have happened over the period in this country with respect to journalists who are being abused in this country. And it is catalogued. And I'll share that with you. And consistently we have declined. And that's where the concern is. So if you talk about journalism and press freedom and so on, I disagree. Based on the facts.
Yeah. From
in
60,
this
62.
corruption, this is the Press Freedom Index put together. So that's specific, and it's a fact that is there.
Can I say something on that?
Can see. Now I'll come to you on that. Let me, Professor Gyampo, on this particular case.
Well, congratulations to Martin and congratulations to Dr. Agordzo. Everybody knows that I don't like coups, military interventions, and all whatever is done to kill the state. Coup d'etat simply means killing the state, and so I don't like it. I want the state to be able to continue to exist, to be strong, and to deliver on its mandate. And so I do not like coups. So I support every move that is put in place to ensure that the constitution of the land is not usurped and coups do not become the means of bringing about change. Many people talk about coups and argue that this may be the way to go in addressing challenges confronting us. And clearly, you study them, you look at their age and their experience and their education, and you know that completely they have no idea of the kinds of things that take place when there is coup. And so then they just talk. But I've always referred them to go read the PhD thesis of my teacher, Professor Michael Kwe. He wrote about human rights abuses during military interventions. And if you go read, you would have to revise your notes about talking about. So I do not feel. I think people who do that should be made to face the full law. But on this particular case, and with specific reference to Dr. Agordzo, I think that there was a certain level of high-handedness, political high-handedness in handling the matter, with specific reference to Agordzo. It appears to me, but that is what it is, that in Ghana, leadership prefer to have people gossip about systems without being open about systems. That is what we prefer. And leadership have often led in a manner that perpetuates this, so that if things are bad, leaders want us to gossip about those bad things without bringing them into the open. I'll give examples and conclude my submission on this. So I go to a hospital in my hometown wanting to adopt the hospital, and the doctor, the medical superintendent then, not the current one, the previous one, I engage him in discussions about what is wrong with the hospital. Now, off camera, I went with one of your
colleagues.
Yeah, your colleagues. I think she's in the UK now. Is it Catherine or something?
Yes.
She followed me. Yeah,
Fimpoma.
Yeah. So she, this medical superintendent, narrates the challenges confronting the hospital to me privately, and I said, "Wow, these are very tremendous, imponderable, very, very serious, challenges." And so, unfortunately, I have a reporter here. Can you sit and allow her to interview? Then this man goes to sit in front of the camera and does a U-turn, saying everything is right. So in the course of the interview, at one point, I said, "Please cut it. I think we are not a serious-minded people." So everything was right, but between me and him, everything was. So I asked, "But why did you do that?" I said, "You want me to be the one saying this in public? Do you want me to lose my job or to be transferred?"
Yes.
Now, my daughter goes to Wesley Girls High School. The whole of Form 1, they don't have teachers. Nobody is talking about it. Nobody's talking about it. So I go there. Some teachers whisper it to me behind the scenes, and so I go there. We created a platform. I started articulating some of these concerns. We went for a PTA meeting. The headmistress came there, and he said all was right. Everything was right.
That was what the headmistress told.
Everything was okay, to the point that some of the parents started taking issues with me. But the headmistress said everything is right, so why are you? Then the headmistress was saying that everything was right. At one point in time in her speech, started narrating some problems. And so I got frustrated, and I got up. I said, "Let's begin to do contributions to help." When I said that, you know what happened? The headmistress lined up all the teachers and said, "Let's leave the room, because we are scared of being there for funds to be raised."
Fear.
So you see, the point is, and it happens in many public sectors. You see, we are practicing free SHS. You see, without Dr. Educhum is a very good friend of mine. But you see, he knows, and my view is that there are imponderable challenges with this free SHS system. When we go to talk to the headmistresses and headmasters, they tell us. But when parents go, or when they are confronted with the media, they are unable to. The system is such that there is a certain fear that if you articulate this thing in public,
You will be dealt with.
you will be dealt with. Now, on the contrary, people like Agordzo and myself, we don't fear.
Exactly.
So, Agordzo stands. One day, when I was working at the IEA, we invited him and we gave him the platform. The kinds of things he said about the police service, my heart started beating. I said, "Hey, this man is very courageous and brave." Exposing some of the dangers, was talking about the mode of appointment of the IGP. And the kinds of things that he said. Subsequently, anytime he mounted the platform, he spoke seriously about the challenges of the police service and how we have attempted to politicize. We keep politicizing that institution that is expected to stand credibly in delivering services, good services to the people of Ghana. He's been talking about this. So in this particular matter, I think his only challenge was the fact that he's been candid, he's been too honest, he's been too bold, he's been too confident, he's been too vociferous, he's been too erudite, and he's been too articulate. Okay, otherwise, you see, when you are talking, I was just listening. You are telling me that there were so many people on that platform. Why was he the one? Was he singled out? It appears to me that given the fact that he's been very bold about things, and people felt that, well, if we subject him through this particular route, then we'll be able to silence him. But I think that
and other public officers,
yes,
that's actually a chilling effect. They will tell a chilling effect.
Well, but I think that in good governance, this is not the way to go. We should also learn to cherish people who are forthright. We should learn to cherish people who want to be articulate, and they are honest, they are candid, they are frank. We should cherish them, because in so doing, we'll be able to know problems that are hidden. And if we mean well as a people who have been given the fiduciary trust of the people to govern, if we mean well, when we hear them, we would be able to proffer solutions. I quite remember that during Jerry Rawlings's time, there was a woman who is a graphic reporter, is it Elizabeth Ohene or something, who wrote something that was very harsh against Rawlings, and people felt that she was going to be dealt with. But I'm told Rawlings brought her up, told her that, no, don't do anything where she's demonstrated a certain boldness and confidence, and so people felt that she was going to be brutal. I mean, in those days, culture of silence, if you spoke against the regime, you either got lost or you were given a certain raw deal. But this lady was not punished. But Rawlings said she's demonstrated a certain confidence that doesn't come cheap. So I think that we should look at ourselves well as a nation, and it's becoming one too many. Ghanaians, as a people, we like to gossip too much. Okay, we like to gossip. Let me tell you. So I was driving, and then I stopped. There was a car reverse, and there was a car. I don't know whether it had failed brake or something. It came back, and then rather came to hit my car. And then people behind me said, "This one, if you take it to court, will be there, and we'll be there to provide evidence and all that." When it mattered, they had to come and give the evidence. Say, "Oh, Fama Nyame, we said about we don't want to be out there," and that is who we are. A nation whose citizens are gossips do not experience serious development. A nation whose citizens are willing to voice out what is wrong for the purposes of drawing attention to the ills of society they are a people who are able to keep regimes on their toes, leaders on their toes, and get these leaders to fix problems. So I think that, Agordzo, congratulations to you once again. Like I said, it is because of your forthrightness and candor that landed you into this. And but you see, it is bad. I've always argued that I was among those who said that we are not in the days of culture of silence. I've always argued, because I always use my own self as an example, that I've been out there always talking about the government. Sometimes you have social media, political land guards coming after you, insulting you. But I see that as normal. I have the right to speak against the government. People have the right to speak against you. I have not had, seriously, I have not had any official government position against me. Or I cannot say that I feel intimidated. Government is trying to do something to gag me or silence. I've not seen that.
Thank you.
I've not seen that. And so I do not want to subscribe to the view that we are getting back to into a culture of silence. But in Agordzo's case, and then in other cases that we have heard, they show the pointer, or they point to the fact that if we don't take care gradually, we may be getting into the realms of culture of silence, and it is not good for our democracy, especially when President Akufo-Addo got to power. Because one of the reasons why he got to power was the fact that he was seen as a Democrat, even though now there are things that are happening that are forcing people to review their description of him as Democrat. I think that people who want to be forthright should be respected. They should be allowed to speak. Once they are not picking a gun, their mouths are not guns. Once they are not using guns to overthrow and they just want to be forthright, we should tolerate them, we should respect them, and we should see them as, you know, one out of many who will be able to illuminate the challenges confronting systems, and these challenges, when brought up and unearthed, would attract the needed, should attract the needed attention for redress. When the challenges are exposed, those who expose them should not be dealt with in a manner that instills a certain fear in them. I think if we do that, then we would continue to remain as a transitional democracy. We will continue to be crawling in our effort to climb higher the ladder of democratic progression.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Really appreciate your time. Please, if you have not yet subscribed, do so. Hit the notification bell, like, and also share for other new members to watch. Thank you.
PENDREAM TV now, so far so good. Say open online portal e Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.